Okay, so today we're looking at our lesson planning and we're looking at the TEAC 2.2a having to do with the place value. So when we look back at the district checkpoint, we noticed that they had some misconceptions and they had a lot missed on that problem. So whenever we're going to be planning our lesson today, I wanted to look at the TEAC specifically and then look at what do we want them to master? What is our end goal? So our TEAC says to use concrete and pictorial models to compose and decompose numbers up to 900 in more than one way as a sum of so many thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. So what are you seeing with the kids as far as, what are they struggling with this?
So what we're seeing is the kids have a good understanding of place value. They can tell you how many hundreds, tens, and ones are in a number. They can show that number in standard form, in base 10 form, in expanded form, in word form. But what they're struggling with is when they see the number a different way, for example, like in base 10 model.
Right.
So if they're given the number 264, they automatically want to put 200, 6 tens, and 4 ones.
Right.
But some of them aren't recognizing that 100 and 16 tens and 4 ones is also the same as
number, right.
what we had before. So what they're struggling the most with is remembering when they need to trade 10 ones in for a 10 and 10 tens in for 100.
Right. Okay, so if we know what we want them to master, we want them to know that our end goal here is we want them to be able to trade in that 10 to create that number in a different way.
Right.
And that's what our TEAC says, and that's what we noticed they struggled with the most. So I'm going to go ahead and put for our objective of our end goal is that we want students to be able to change out a 10 to be able to create the same number a different way. Okay, so I think the best thing to do to start us off is to create our exit ticket for them.
Okay.
What I want to do is I want to make sure that success on this exit ticket equals objective mastery. So we know our end goal is for them to be able to create that number a different way. And so we need an exit ticket that's going to match that.
Right.
So what are you thinking for our exit ticket?
So we actually recently had a problem on their CFA where they were asked to identify one of 3 base 10 models that did not represent a given number.
Okay.
And so what we did is we gave them the base 10 form and, for 264, 206 tens and 4 ones.
Right.
We gave an example of a number that was not 264, and then we gave 264 in a different way by trading out 100 for 10 ones.
Okay.
Because what we see is they want to automatically circle the one that has all the tens or all the ones because it doesn't look like it could equal that number.
Right.
When in actuality, it does still equal the same number. We're wanting them to identify the one that does not represent
Right,
that
so
number.
they're having that misconception there. So
Right.
I feel like if we use this same problem, but we changed up the numbers, we know it's going to match our objective and our end goal, and we know that that exit ticket will give us a dead-on answer whether they know how to do that or they do not.
Right.
So I think what we can do is we can use this same problem, just change up the numbers.
Okay.
Do you agree?
And we could probably go a lot higher too because we've just bumped up to 900.
That's
so.
great, and then that would give us a even better a better idea of their understanding, because if they can do it at 264, then they should be able to do that concept at 900.
Right.
So I think that's a great idea. So we'll work on creating that exit ticket to match that objective. So in class, before we give them their exit ticket, what can you do to work with them to make sure they're going to have success on that exit ticket?
So I think we'll just do a lot of small group modeling with base
Yeah.
10 manipulatives. That's going to be the most important thing because I think that they need to be able to interact
Yes.
and move the base 10 manipulatives around to really
Okay.
kind of see it, and then maybe transfer that onto paper by drawing out the base 10
Yeah.
and showing the different ways that they could show one
Yeah,
number.
because that would be our concrete, would be our base 10 blocks, then we could have the pictorial would
Right.
be on the paper. And you could even do it on a whiteboard with a dry erase. That would
And
be
I
a good way
think
for them
that
to
with
draw it.
the manipulatives, they have it because they can see, they can group it. They
Right.
can physically take those 10 ones and put them away and trade it out for a 10. It's just when they're seeing it on paper.
Right, and
It's
then it
completely
gets,
different.
The difficulty level goes up.
Right.
So I think that's a great idea, showing them you know how to do it here, let's transfer it to the paper, and they'll be able to get it in the pictorial form. I think that's an excellent idea. So I think that activity should definitely create success on our exit ticket, our exemplar. So what do you think about some misconceptions that they might have that we could kind of plan for and maybe stop in their tracks and fix that during their small group?
So I think what we can do is when they are trading out, like when they're drawing their base 10 blocks to represent a number and they see that they need to trade out 10 ones for a 10, we usually always have them box in the group of 10.
Yeah.
And I think what sometimes the kids tend to do is they think once they've boxed it up, they've traded it and they're forgetting to write in the 10.
They think they're done at that step.
And so I think maybe having them box it in, draw in whatever they're trading out. So if they're trading in 10 ones, box in the 10 ones, draw their 10, and then cross out the 10 ones to show that they had their even trade.
So you're giving them a strategy for that misconception. So that's perfect. If you give them something they can work with to make sure they don't have that misconception, I don't see how they couldn't be successful. So I think that's great. So I think we have a good plan. We know what our goal is. We know our exemplar. We know what we're going to use to measure if they get it, and we know exactly what activity we're going to do to make sure that they can be successful on their exemplar. So I think that we have a really good plan in place. Thank you so much.
Yay!
Where's our